Everything has a price, except the revolvers I'm about to show you. If one of these is sitting in your safe right now, selling it will be the most expensive mistake you ever make. Ruger Redhawk. If you already own one of these, you're ahead of the curve. A Redhawk in .41 Magnum is a near-perfect big-bore working revolver, and selling it means losing a tool that does almost everything well. Built on the same massively strong frame as the .44 versions, the .41 Magnum Redhawk delivers serious penetration and power with slightly less recoil and flatter trajectories, making it outstanding for hunting and backcountry defense. Its heavy frame, triple locking cylinder, and rugged lockwork are engineered for the hottest hunting and defense loads, giving you a revolver that can handle pressures many competitors simply aren't rated for.
Freedom Arms 83. Once you let a Model 83 leave the safe, replacing it means long waits, serious money, and the nagging sense that you let perfection slip through your fingers. Freedom Arms Model 83 owners belong to a very exclusive club, and selling one is walking away from the top of the single-action food chain. Built around cartridges like the .454 Casull, the 83 uses a massive, precisely machined frame, ultra-tight cylinder gap, and bank vault lockup to contain pressures that would destroy ordinary revolvers, while still delivering match-grade accuracy. These guns are essentially semi-custom pieces, with line-bored cylinders and hand-fitted parts that give them a feel and precision most shooters will never experience in any other handgun.
Ruger Blackhawk. If you own a Blackhawk in .45 Colt, you've got one of the most robust single-action revolvers ever manufactured. Unlike the fragile mechanisms of original 19th century Colts, the Blackhawk is built like a honey badger, designed to withstand pressures that would flatten lesser firearms. That toughness lets handloaders run Ruger-only loads, unleashing the full potential of the .45 Colt cartridge far beyond its traditional black powder ballistics. Selling this piece means losing a platform that bridges the gap between Old West nostalgia and modern Magnum performance. The market for these stays steady, but finding another that's been cared for, especially older 3-screw models, is becoming increasingly difficult and expensive.
Smith & Wesson Model 28, the Highway Patrolman, is a slab of law enforcement history that's shooting up in collector value faster than highway speeds it was named after. Essentially a budget-friendly version of the deluxe Model 27, the Model 28 rides on the massive N-frame, the same size originally built to tame the .44 Magnum. That means when you're feeding it .357 Magnum, the Model 28 is virtually indestructible, with a service life smaller frames can only dream about. If you own one, you're holding a solid chunk of the golden era of policing, and selling it now means walking away from a market that's only climbing as nostalgia for these heavy-duty service revolvers grows.
Smith & Wesson Model 10. The classic Model 10 is the very definition of standard, and you should never sell it because it's the ruler everyone else gets measured against. As the most produced revolver of the 20th century, it built its reputation the hard way, serving cops and soldiers across America for over 100 years without drama. The Model 10's action is legendary for its smoothness, something modern polymer pistols just cannot imitate no matter how many backstraps they ship with. It's the ultimate do-everything .38 special. Home defense, range time, teaching new shooters, it checks all the boxes.
Colt King Cobra. The King Cobra is a serious investment-grade snake, and dumping it now can mean watching big future gains slither right past you. As one of Colt's 7 serpents, it carries all the snake gun mystique, but rides on a heavier, tougher frame than the more delicate Python. The King Cobra was built to live on a diet of full-power Magnum loads, with a thick top strap and a heavy barrel that inspire real confidence when things get loud. Since Colt brought the name back, interest in original run guns has taken off, with collectors paying a premium to own the older, real-deal versions. Letting it go cuts your tie to the elite Colt snake gun crowd, a club that's getting more expensive to buy back into every single year. Smith & Wesson Model 19. Model 19 wears the Combat Magnum badge for a reason, and letting one go is like walking away from the exact revolver Bill Jordan talked the factory into building. It gives you full .357 Magnum performance in a K-frame that rides flatter and points faster than the big N-frames.
Ruger SP101. The Ruger SP101 carved its own lane, and selling it means parting with arguably the strongest small-frame revolver in existence. While other makers chase ultralight snubs, Ruger built the SP101 to be shootable. Its solid stainless steel frame and slightly heavier profile let it digest a steady diet of full-power .357 Magnum ammo that would loosen or crack lighter alloy competitors over time. This is a lifetime gun, designed to outlast its owner even with heavy use. If you trade it for a featherweight alternative, you will likely miss the SP101's tank-like reliability and shooting comfort the next time you head to the range. Kimber K6S. The K6S brings modern engineering to the age-old capacity gripe, and you should think twice before cashing it in. It holds the title of smallest 6-shot .357 Magnum revolver on the market, squeezing 6 rounds into a cylinder width that others need 5 shots to match. Beyond the clever dimensions, the K6S gets the kind of finish work you expect from a custom shop, with melted edges for snag-free carry and a factory trigger that's remarkably smooth right out of the box. Values stay high because it fills a specific niche, a premium, high-capacity, deep concealment piece. Selling it often leaves a gap in a collection that can only be filled by buying the same gun again at a higher retail price later.
Colt Detective Special. This is one of the granddaddies of concealed carry revolvers, and even with today's micro semi-autos everywhere, this little Colt still feels like it was drawn on a napkin by someone who actually carried a gun. You get 6 rounds of .38 Special in a package where a lot of the competition could only squeeze in 5, and it's all wrapped in a compact frame that can vanish under a light shirt or jacket like it's late for a meeting. The moment you sell a Detective Special, you are actually right back in the same elbow-to-elbow collector line, trying to muscle your way into a shrinking pool of remaining good ones.
Ruger GP100. This is the definition of a forever gun in the .357 Magnum world, and letting one go has a way of turning into a fast lesson in regret. Ruger built it stoutly, with a robust frame, a triple locking cylinder, and a modular grip system, and the whole point from day one was to digest full-power Magnum loads without whining about it. Sure, it's a bit bulkier than some older medium-frame classics, but that extra meat pays you back in durability and recoil control, which is exactly what you want for long-range days, woods carry, or home defense. And if you've already landed on a GP100 setup that fits you and prints where you want, selling it usually means paying more later.
Smith & Wesson Model 36. If you own a Chief Special, you've got the original snub-nose concealed carry revolver that basically wrote the rulebook for the J-frame. This is the little steel .38 that spent decades riding in pockets and ankle rigs for detectives and off-duty cops, long before polymer compacts were even a gleam in anyone's eye. It gives you real shootability with true deep concealment in a way a lot of newer featherweight guns don't quite match, especially when you care about controllability and durability over the long haul. Once yours is gone, replacing it in similar condition almost always costs more, and the replacement still won't come with the same personal history.
Dan Wesson Model 15. This one carries the same smart DNA as the 715, just dressed in blued .357 clothing, and it's way too easy to let one slip away and regret it later. That tensioned, interchangeable barrel setup means you can swap not only length, but also the barrel profile, with one frame acting like the hub of your whole revolver system. That's not gimmickry. It's a big reason these things shoot so well, because the barrel is supported at both ends and snugged into the shroud exactly the way it likes. If you've got a solid Model 15, especially with bonus barrels, hang on tight because you're holding on to modularity and accuracy that almost nobody bothers building anymore.
Colt Single Action Army.
The single-action Army is the revolver that wrote the style guide for the Old West, and it still struts like it knows it. That silhouette, the loading gate, and those half-cock hammer clicks are basically the soundtrack and the feel of what a cowboy gun is supposed to be, and they've been doing it for well over a century. And because the name on the gun carries real weight, genuine single-action Army tend to hold value better than most firearms, with the desirable barrel lengths, finishes, and calibers usually climbing as the years go by. Letting yours go turns a real chunk of American history into cash that tends to vanish fast, while the price of getting back in later keeps marching upward.
Smith & Wesson Model 29. Model 29 is the heavy hitter that made the .44 Magnum famous worldwide, and that dirty hairy pool factor is a big reason to keep it. Beyond the movie magic, the 29 is a beautifully balanced end-frame beauty designed to deliver serious Magnum power without feeling like a brick in your hand. With deep blued steel, classic checkered wood stocks, and fine sights, it's as much a work of art as it is a boomstick. While it's a serious hunting tool for the woods, it's also a living artifact of the golden age of American guns. Once you trade it away, you're losing a piece of history, and buying your way back into the club gets more expensive every single year.
Smith & Wesson Model 27. Selling a Model 27 is often a one-way ticket. You get a little quick cash, but you permanently shut the door on owning Smith & Wesson's finest Magnum masterpiece. This is the granddaddy, the original .357 Magnum from Smith & Wesson, and it sits on a pedestal high above just about everything else they ever made. Built on that big, burly end frame with a mirror-polished blue finish and that gorgeous checkered top strap, early 27s show off the absolute best work S&W ever produced. This was the flagship of the fleet back in the day, carried by folks who demanded and could afford the very best, long before the Model 28 or L frames showed up. You get tack-driving accuracy, a buttery smooth action, and a gun that laughs at hot Magnum loads all day long.
Manurhin MR73. Giving up an MR73 usually means stepping down in quality, because frankly, nothing else compares. The Manurhin MR73 is famous as the French GIGN counter-terror unit's sidearm, and let me tell you, it was built to survive a training regimen that would wreck lesser guns in a week. These beasts were designed to digest tens of thousands of full-power .357 Magnum rounds without breaking a sweat, all while sporting a match-grade trigger that shoots like a target pistol. While most service revolvers are just good enough for government work, the MR73 is a dedicated fighting machine for elite guys who trained hard and expected their gear to last forever. Imports have always been scarce as chicken's teeth, and even with new ones being made, you won't find them at your local shop. Korth Mongoose. The Korth sits in a stratosphere way above mass-produced revolvers, and selling one is like falling off a cloud. Hand-built in Germany, these beauties are famous for insanely tight tolerances, slick modular cylinders, and a double-action trigger that many say is smoother than a politician's promise. The steel, machining, and finishing are done to a standard that reminds you more of a Rolex watch than a regular firearm. They make very few of them, and the wait lists are painful, which is exactly why used ones hold their value like prime real estate. If you already have a Mongoose, you've jumped the financial and waiting hurdles that keep 99% of shooters drooling from the sidelines. Letting it go usually ends with a sad story about how hard and incredibly expensive it is to ever get back into the exclusive Korth Club. Smith & Wesson Model 686. The 686 is arguably the best balanced, do-it-all .357 Magnum workhorse ever to leave the production line. Built on that beefy L frame, it was born to eat a steady diet of full-house Magnum loads without shaking loose like the old K-frames sometimes did. That stainless steel laughs at sweat, rain, and holster wear, giving you a gun you can shoot every weekend and still be proud to pass down to the grandkids.
Whether you've got the snub-nosed carry model or the long 6-inch hunter, they all pack that solid lockup and the buttery S&W trigger we all love. Folks trade them off thinking they're upgrading, only to spend years hunting for another 686 that feels half as good as the one they foolishly let go.
Colt Python. If you're lucky enough to have a Colt Python in the safe, congratulations, you are holding the undisputed king of double-action wheel guys. That legendary reputation comes from hand-fitted lockwork, a trigger pull smoother than glazed ice, and tack-driving accuracy thanks to that famous vent-ribbed barrel. Colt marketed this as a premium gun from day one, and for once, the advertising boys weren't blowing smoke. The quality is real. Original bottles, especially from the 50s to the 70s, are practically gold bars now, fetching prices that would make your jaw drop. Even with the new reissues out there, collectors know the original series is a different breed entirely. If you let a good one go, buying it back later means paying a king's ransom for a beater. That's why so many old-timers list selling my Python as the one regret that keeps them up at night.